Hi everyone, Emma here. Today I'm going to talk you through Infusible ink sheets. I'm going to talk through Infusible ink pens in a separate video, so this one is all about Infusible ink sheets. If you are new to Infusible ink, what is it? Let's start there. So this is a really cool material bought out by Cricut in last year, 2019. And what's really cool about it is it actually infuses into a fabric, into a material. So unlike iron-on vinyl that sits on top, so you've got your fabric layer and then your vinyl, or your iron-on vinyl, this actually infuses and becomes part of the material. So if I just grab some examples to show you. Here's a t-shirt. Oh, I have washed this a few times, but you can see the Infusible ink is actually in there. It's not sat on top, and it washes and washes and washes and doesn't lose its colour. It infuses into the actual fabric, so it actually becomes a gas. That's how it works. At a very, very hot temperature, it turns into a gas and then fuses in to the fabric. Now, your sheets come in a few different options. You've got your plain colours, you've got patterns. Some of these are beautiful. They either come in packs of 2 or 4, so that's what these are here. And the same for Infusible ink. These aren't smart fabrics, they're just cut down to size, ready for you with the Cricut Joy. So if you've got a Joy, it's totally up to you which you use. This is going to save you time because it's already cut to width. But if you want a little bit more to use, bigger sheets to cut down yourself, then you could go for the other pack. It doesn't matter. Infusible ink cuts on Joy, Explore Air 2 and the Maker, so on all of your machines you're able to cut it, which is amazing. You need to use the Easy Press 2. Your home iron will not be hot enough to use with Infusible ink, and that's because it works at around 205 degrees centigrade and 400 degrees Fahrenheit. So if you've got the blue Easy Press, that's not going to heat up hot enough, the Easy Press 1, but if you've got the Easy Press 2, you're good to go because this does have a high enough setting, and same with your mini press as well. The third setting is hot enough for Infusible ink. So inside each pack, your Infusible ink will be in a black bag, and this is because you shouldn't leave it out in the sunlight. So once you finish using it, if you've got any scraps, put them back in a dark place in a box or back in the plastic. So you're going to get your Infusible ink sheets. They look like this. They kind of feel a bit like a card texture and thickness, but you'll see them whichever patterns you've got. They will look a lot duller than they do on the box, and when I show you shortly you'll see why. They get much brighter when heat is added, so they will eventually match the box colours. But just be aware when you get them out of the packet, they're meant to be that way and they will come out how you expected. You also get a few sheets of what is called butcher paper. In the UK we call this baking parchment or baking paper. I have a similar roll here that I've got from the pound shop, which works just as well when these run out. But you do get a couple of sheets in the box for you. And then the last cool thing that you get is a little swatch of the t-shirt material for the blanks, which I'll talk about in a moment. And you can use this bit to test out Infusible ink before you go in with your first project. But there's one of those in each packet of the transfer sheets, which is handy to know. Now, I just mentioned blanks. The reason for that is Infusible ink is only compatible with certain materials, and therefore Cricut have brought out a range of blanks that are perfectly compatible and give you the best results. So these are ceramic coasters. They currently come in a circle like this. You've also got You've also got the square coaster, the corked back square coaster. This isn't ceramic, it's more kind of just like your normal coaster. You've also got tote bags. I'll hold one of these up. These come in 2 sizes currently. Like that, really nice quality to them actually. And then you've got t-shirts, and these come in 2 styles. This is the women's style, the one style which is the v-neck, and then there's the men's style which has a yellow band across it on the packaging, and that is a round neck. I personally prefer the men's, and I would definitely size up with these, go a size higher than you think, because I found they're a little bit more comfortable a size up. So those are the current blanks we can get in the UK at the moment. It's mid-2020, but I'm sure as it goes on, Cricut will bring out more blanks and there'll be more available. Now, you could use your own blanks, but you need to be aware any fabric you're pressing onto needs to be at least 80% polyester. If you can get it to 100% polyester, you're going to get really great results, but I wouldn't go anything below 80. And then you want to look for sublimation blanks for your ceramics and anything else that you want to apply Infusible ink to. It also works on the Cricut aluminium sheets as well, so that's quite a cool project to do. So let's get started. I'm going to step you through how we pop this on the mat, how we cut it, and how we press it. Let's go. Okay, so I've chosen a design on Cricut Design Space. I'm happy with my design. Now remember, when you're designing, your design has to be smaller than your easy press plate. So if you've got the 9x9 easy press, for example, you need to make sure that your design is under 9x9, and that's because we can only press Infusible ink in one go. So we need to get one single press for the image that we're pressing. If it moves slightly, you get a kind of ghosting effect, which you don't want to happen. So make sure it's smaller than your press. I have mirrored my design just as we would with iron-on vinyl, but the big difference here is we're going to pop it face up on the mat. So pop your design face up on the mat like so. So pattern up, or if you've got colour, pop the colour up. Make sure it's well stuck, like so. Now all we need to do is choose Infusible ink transfer sheet as our material and pop it into the machine. And then we cut as usual. So the biggest top tips there are face up and mirror your design. Now I'm going to let the machine cut this. And I'm using the fine point blade. No special fancy blades here, just the blade that came in your machine. And all of these steps are exactly the same whether you're working on Joy, Explore or the Maker. Okay, my cut has finished, so I'm going to eject from the machine. And then, as usual, just going to move this out of the way. And we're just going to peel our mat away from our material. And just gently so that you don't curl your Infusible ink sheets. And then of course, if I cut round my design, I don't like to cut too close to the design with Infusible ink. I like to leave a bit of buffer, and that's because once we've weeded, we get a bit of a sticky kind of back that helps the Infusible ink stay in place. And the more of that, the better for me personally. So try not to go too close. And then you can use that piece another time, of course. Stick that through the machine again. Now we do something called cracking. And what this is before we weed, we just kind of roll through our fingers, and you can hear that noise, that cracking noise, and that just helps all of the edges that you've cut come away from the bits next them. It really helps you weed out. So if you are having trouble weeding something, give it this little crack beforehand. It's really quite satisfying. And then you can go in and remove the excess and weed as you normally would. Now, because this is a thicker material, I find I don't need the weeding tool as much, especially for chunkier designs. I can just peel away with my fingers, and don't worry if it rips. Like I said, it's quite a thick material. And just keep on going, so that just your design is stuck to the backing sheet. Peel all these bits off. And then I would use something like that. I'd probably cut little bits out with my punches maybe, or use snap mat to get the best out of them, or even just cut around some of those shapes and put them onto a t-shirt. I'm just going to keep going until your whole design is revealed. Okay, and there you can see my weeded design, so you can start to see the dull colours there, and you can see all of my pieces are weeded and ready to go. So now it's time to set up our easy press and mat ready to press. Okay, so first of all I've got my Cricut Easy Press mat. I'm going to pop that down, and then you want to lay a couple of sheets of paper or cardstock down to protect your mat. And this is because, like I said earlier, infusible ink turns into a gas. If any of that gas gets into your Easy Press mat or onto your plate, it could ruin your next project and ruin your mat. So you just want to put a couple of sheets down to absorb any gas that might be heading that way. Then you're going to pop your blank down. I'm going to use a tote bag for this one. Now, normally at this stage we would pre-press our garments if we were using iron-on. We'd pre-press for 10 seconds to get out any moisture. With infusible ink, the surface of your blank cannot be hot when you lay your infusible ink down, or else it will start working straight away and it might not be where you want it to be. So therefore, if you need to pre-press a garment, pre-press it and let it cool completely, which I've done with this one, and then you're good to go. Next you're going to grab a lint roller, and you're just going to lint roll the area to get up any dust particles, any lint particles. If some of these are naked to, can't be seen by the naked eye, but once they're pressed they turn blue and can make your project not look as perfect. So always make sure you do that. Then you're going to pop your infusible ink design down where you'd like it to go. So I'm happy with that. There we are. Now at this stage you can use your heat resistant tape to help it tape down as well. This comes like this, it's a blue tape, and this is a tape that's not going to melt. Do not try and put any masking tapes or sellotape or washi tapes, anything like that, under the press when it's this hot, because it's not going to end well for you. So make sure you've got a heat resistant tape. I'm pretty happy that that's going to stay in place and all is well. Next you're going to pop a piece of your butcher paper. Like I said, we call this baking parchment or baking paper. It doesn't matter what side it goes down. Pop that like so. And I have checked the Cricut heat guide, and I've heated up my press to 205 degrees centigrade, the hottest my press will actually go, for 40 seconds. Then what I've personally done is added 2 seconds, and the reason for that is I'm going to press the go button before I pop it down on my project to minimalise any movement of the press. So I want to be able to just put this straight on and then not worry about pressing anything or moving it at all. Now if I had a really sturdy table, I would just pop the press down and hands off walk away, obviously stand there and watch, but as I'm using a trestle table which if you followed me for a while, you know that this table is prone to moving and isn't great. So I'm actually going to add pressure, but I'm going to stay as still as I can for those 40 seconds. So we're ready to go. Press that green and then pop this straight down. And I'm going to stand here as still as possible. And I'm just giving a medium pressure. Pressure isn't important with Infusible ink, it's that you have full contact with every single part of the project and the plate. So you might need to add pressure to make that happen, but it's not as important as it is with iron on. So we've got 10 seconds to go. Now if you want to do multiple colours, so multiple different sheets, I would recommend slicing out the images and transferring them all onto one sheet so you can press once. If you do want to layer, you can, but remember, just with any ink or paint, the colours will merge into each other because they're going to fuse together. So more often than not, black will be fine on top because it's just going to take over of whatever's underneath, but you might end up with brown tones or, you know, a completely different tone because you've added two colours together. So just bear that in mind. It's going to be very hot, of course, so just be careful. But this is where we really see the magic happen. And you're going to see how bright this is going to become. I'm going to bring back in how it was before for you to remember. And then I'm going to carefully pull up, and you can now see when I hold it up how bright it is. And actually you can see that all of the colour has disappeared from my sheet. So I can't use that again because there isn't any ink left on there for me to use again. That's now done, so that would now go in the bin. And if I turn this around, you see how bright those colours now are. And my bag and my project are complete. I would wait 24 hours before you wash this, but then after that you can wash it as much as you like. And there we go, we can see the difference between, that's the same sheet, so you can really see how those colours brighten up. And this is exactly the same process if you're using the transfer sheets on the coasters or on the t-shirts. You would layer your mat exactly the same, press the same, just double check your heat settings on the Cricut heat guide. But that is how to use Cricut Infusible ink sheets. I hope you found this video helpful. See you again soon. Bye!